Bitcoin finally makes a break and it is down. And in this video, as we anticipate and watch if this dip is going to continue for Bitcoin, I want to discuss one very simple thing, why I think it's a good thing. What is up, everyone? Welcome to Crypto Capital Venture. Hit that like, hit that subscribe on the way in. It means a lot to me. Let's jump into the Bitcoin video. Everybody, here we go. This is the move. Bitcoin broke the lower trend line finally. It's been just consolidating like crazy over the weeks. We got to break to the downside. What does it mean in this video? Very simply, I want to break down this move on the short-term charts, but I'm going to check out the macro, and I'm going to explain to you why this isn't surprising at all. This is something that it's an environment in which Bitcoin trades that I feel comfortable in. I like this, and I'm going to break that down for you. So let's jump into the Bitcoin video. Let's talk about what's going on, and let's start with this. For context, from that swing high beginning of January or so to where we are now, Bitcoin is down 27% dip. We talk about even going into the bull market, before the bull market, anticipate 30, 40% dips in a bull market. And here we are, 27% dip. Maybe it bottoms out there. I don't know. We're going to talk about that, the case for that right now. But maybe it continues to the 40% area. What does that look like? And why you really shouldn't be like terrified of something like that. Let's go. So Bitcoin on the symmetrical triangle breakout to the downside, $24,000, $25,000 target to the downside in play. One thing I want to discuss, I talk about this all the time in these videos, especially when we're discussing patterns, right? We talk about if Bitcoin would break the upper trend line, a throwback to that trend line. If Bitcoin breaks the lower trend line, a pullback to that trend line. Now, those happen often, and if we actually look at the patternsite.com, go learn, everybody. If you want to learn some of this technical analysis, a lot of the data I use, I adjust some based on Bitcoin more volatile than I think what Bulkowski was using in his trades, but we know the symmetrical triangle breaks 74% to the apex, right down here. And one thing to note is 65% of the time, I don't know if you can see this on the screen, I can zoom in, we see a pullback, a 65% pullback rate. So if we go back to this chart, a pullback would be Bitcoin basically being pulled back to the trend line. Now, in synergy with that, there is a case for Bitcoin bulls to step it up, step in, and we see a busted symmetrical triangle. And what that looks like is Bitcoin moves to the downside out of the trend line. If it doesn't get 10% or so of the way, around 10% of the way, and continue to the downside, but instead actually pulls back to the trend line, we could have a busted symmetrical triangle in play. And this is also based on data off of Bulkowski on the patternsite.com. And look what he says here. Symmetrical triangles with downward breakouts bust 48% of the time in bull markets. And he has an example. Here's a fake out. Here's what a busted symmetrical triangle looks like off of one of his trades. And it's in play. And what we're looking for is a move that's less than 10% before prices move back up. So again, less than 10%. So that brings us right around to $30,000. Now, based on a lot of his data, I add a little bit of margin because Bitcoin is so volatile, right? So I think in this $30,000 area, maybe slightly below, Bitcoin, if we can get a bounce, and remember, this is the last swing low of this symmetrical triangle. If we can get a bounce anywhere in this vicinity right here in the $30,000 area, there's a case for a busted pattern. That can be extremely bullish, and Bitcoin can explode in the next week out of this if Bitcoin is to see support. But we're going to track that, right? And I'm not trying to get everybody's hopes up. Oh, even though we broke out of the symmetrical triangle, Bitcoin's still bullish. That's not me, everybody. But this is data. This is real stuff. And I'm just presenting it to you. So that's what we're looking for in the very short term for support for Bitcoin, right? Is any type of support in the $30,000 area, a bounce, a pullback. And then when we get a pullback, if we get a pullback, that $34,000, $35,000 lower trend line area, be careful. Just because we're getting pullbacks, not bullish. We want to see Bitcoin break the apex, right? If we get a pullback and there's resistance there, that can be very bearish for continuation finally to the target $24,000, $25,000 in the next week or so. So this is what we're going to track. This is why I do videos almost daily, pretty much daily. So let's dig into this. Here's the daily chart. Bitcoin has broken the 20-day moving average. You can see it right there. It happened, and we were tracking to see if we could just get that just awesome bullish continuation bounce off the 20-day moving average. It's something that has happened in the last few months as Bitcoin has just gone crazy, but it just didn't happen. What I want to talk about is a couple things. This move in particular on the macro, meaning the zoomed out charts, what it means and why I think it's pretty healthy for Bitcoin. What's crazy to me, first off, is we've done a lot of comparing to this 2019 move for Bitcoin. And it was our case to get to $40,000 and Bitcoin did it. But you can just see Bitcoin stalled out at this trend line and we're fizzling out and Bitcoin's trickling down. Remember, 27% down so far from this swing high. Now, if we're looking at Bitcoin, where it is on this chart, the 50-day moving average currently around $28,000 is such a crucial key area to keep an eye out on for Bitcoin. Our target is below there on the short term, right? And Bitcoin can fall below the 50-day moving average. But what we're going to have to keep an eye on here is if the target gets hit at 24,000, will Bitcoin get back above that 50-day moving average? It's really important, and it needs to kind of do it quickly, and that's what we're going to be tracking in the next week or two. But going back to this zoomed out chart, you can see the synergy and harmony of these moves for Bitcoin, and I want to kind of translate that onto the weekly chart. So if we're looking at the weekly chart, now we're getting that move that like we've been talking about and anticipating so much on this channel as Bitcoin's been going crazy. And that is simply just consolidation, everybody, on the macro charts. And if we go and we look now and we look at the RSI, finally the RSI coming down, and you can just see this is good, everybody. If you want $100,000 Bitcoin, I just tweeted this a little bit ago. If you want Bitcoin to hit $100,000, this dip is the best thing that could be happening right now. I just tweeted that. And it's so true because when you're looking at something like this RSI on the weekly chart, if you want continuation, you really want to see something similar to what Bitcoin did that last bull market, right? Which is we get these awesome swing highs, new all-time highs. It's all good. Everybody can have fun and celebrate that on Twitter and YouTube. But we need the consolidation for the next all-time high and then the next all-time high. And so right now we're getting consolidation for the next all-time high. And it's healthy. It's what you want to see. And now, interestingly enough, if you look at this Bitcoin move in that 2019 swing high, and you translate that onto the RSI, right? This is what Bitcoin was doing then on the RSI in that middle of the 2019 move. And it's right here. This is interesting to me, this RSI consolidation before continuation to the upside. Now, Bitcoin did almost in the middle of its current move an exact same consolidation. What was crazy to us, or at least to me, was it was consolidating sideways in overbought territory on the RSI, the weekly. It really has never done that. And it did do that. And then we continued to the upside and topped out similar to the 2019 summer 2019, swing high, right? And this is what it looks like on the chart. There's that move in the summer of 2019. Here's the move now. So the move is very similar. The reason I'm breaking this down and comparing is because now we're at separate parts of the cycle. And what we're anticipating for Bitcoin is not for Bitcoin as it did after it topped out here to just trickle down. We're not anticipating that. We're anticipating Bitcoin to kind of trade sideways and then continue to the upside. And so if you look at this chart, and this is a weekly chart, when Bitcoin topped out in 2019, trickled sideways into the 20-week moving average, and then it failed, and it continued to the downside. What we're looking for is consolidation of some sort being pulled into the 20-week moving average, that green line, and instead of breaking below like it did back here, we're looking for support and a break continuation to new all-time highs. And if you zoom out on this weekly chart, this is what happened. This is what transpired in the last bull market. Bitcoin revisited this 20-week moving average over and over again. People freaking out at that time as well, but these dips were necessary, and we're in one of those dips right now, everybody. We've talked about it leading into the bull market. We said, let's just get ready for it because it's going to happen. and it's happening now. And look at these dips back then. I mean, we talk about this all the time, but this dip right here, this is like a month or so, 40% dip. You know, and it took around a month to consolidate into the 20-week moving average. Here's a dip. This is like 30+% dip. And then we go to our weekly chart now and we look at Bitcoin and we're like, oh, wow, Bitcoin actually is pretty overextended from that green line, that 20-week moving average. Maybe a little consolidation, a cool-off phase for Bitcoin isn't a bad thing. Now, is Bitcoin going to tank all the way down to $19,000 right now? No, I don't think it's going to. That'd be another 40% dip right now. But if you let this weekly chart play out, if you let some bounces kind of happen, Bitcoin consolidates, maybe it hits the $24,000 target, $25,000 target, we get a bounce, we're trickling sideways, people are guessing, we're all doing videos, and the 20-week moving average gets pulled up, then we can talk about, all right, here we go, everybody, let's get ready. We're going to get some confirmation here. Is Bitcoin going to fail at the 20-week or not, right? So that's what we're waiting to get there. This is a day-by-day thing, and for many of you, it's an hourly thing as we track these hourly charts. But I wanted to break that down for you. So there's the short term. Let's see if we can get a bounce at 30,000. Maybe there's a case for the bulls right now, everybody. A busted symmetrical triangle would be epic right now for Bitcoin just to continue bullish. I'm not ruling it out, but when we're talking about the dip that's happening right now, this is normal, and we have to track it over the weeks ahead. So those are my thoughts today. It's time for me to go to relax. The beach is right outside, and I'm itching. I'm itching to go. So I appreciate all you cruising by. If you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe. Hit that like on the way out. It means a lot to me. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day, and God bless.